Hi guys, we're going to be doing a project on The Minister's Black Veil by Nathaniel Hawthorne, and it's going to be by a flip video by Alan, Eric, and Lynn.
So first, we're going to cover a simple biography of Nathaniel Hawthorne. We'll go on to introduce the quotes that we chose, the current events we linked it to, and the overall significance. So, Nathaniel Hawthorne was born in 1804 on July 4th. He was an American writer who grew up in Salem, Massachusetts, with a family background that came from New England. He went to Bowdoin College in Maine with financial aid from his uncle Robert Manning, as his father died earlier. He lived in Salem after graduating, where he spent much of his time reading and writing. There, he met many writers and poets that would later become very influential to him, one being Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Some of his most famous works include The House of Seven Gables, The Scarlet Letter, Fanshawe, Clark's Told Tales, Mosses from an Old Manse, and many more. He was a famous writer of the American Romantic era.
This is a picture of Nathaniel Hawthorne himself, and it's one of his most famous quotes, which is words so innocent and powerless as they are, as standing in a dictionary. How potent for good and evil they come in the hands of one who knows how to combine them. The Minister's Black Veil was a short story written by Hawthorne in 1837. He wrote the story during his 12 years of isolation and solitude. Hawthorne may have been inspired by a true event. In the past, a clergyman named Joseph Moody was accidentally killed his friend when he was a young man and wore a black veil from the man's funeral until his own death. This is the cover of the short story, and this is Mr. Hooper wearing the black veil.
Hi guys, welcome to the Romantic Era English Literature Analysis Talk Show with Eric. So this is Alan and this is Lynn, and they're going to be analyzing 3 quotes for us. So the first one: in this manner, Mr. Hooper spent a long life, irreproachable in outward act, yet shrouded in dismal suspicions, kind and loving, though unloved, and dimly feared, a man apart from men. So in this context, Mr. Hooper, he hadn't changed anything from his normal life, from his manner to his demeanor to his ways with people. The only difference was that he wore a dark veil, and people decided to treat him differently. Alan, do you want to begin?
Well, basically, I think that the very device for this book is just the position, because in contrast, how Mr. Hooper was very nice at the beginning, yet he was treated bad.
I agree. Also, the tone is really depressing and gloomy. Also, the theme is isolation and solitude.
I think that the reason for that is because how others excluded him from society.
And then another large part to why they did this was people's wanting to judge others based on appearance and less on who they really are. And for our second quote, moving on: do not desert me, although this veil must be between us here on earth. Be mine in hereafter. There shall be no veil over my face, no darkness between our souls. It is but a mortal veil. It is not for eternity. So the context behind this is Mr. Hooper trying to persuade his fiancée Elizabeth not to leave him and to not force him to explain his reasons for wearing the veil.
So I think the literary device for this quote is illusion, and then it's illusion because Hawthorne uses the veil as an allusion to sin that can be casted away after death. What do you
it also connects to the judgment day and how every sin would be revealed to God and how they would be forced to judgment.
And then the theme behind this is that sin is inescapable until death, until God shines his light upon you. It's just whether or not humans decide to acknowledge its existence or not.
For the theme tone of this quote, it seems like it's pleading explanatory and how he wants to persuade Elizabeth for agreeing with what he thinks.
This quote exemplifies Hawthorne's belief in original sin and that humans are innately born with evil inside them. Thank you.
And our current event for this quote is The Humility of God, which is written by the Pope on New Year's Eve. Basically, the Pope is talking about how God was kind enough to send his son Jesus to reestablish his connection with mankind, even though humans are encumbered with original sin. And And the author talks about the humility of God. And quote from the article, "Because of this, God sent his Son to redeem us with his blood," said the Holy Father. What the Pope is trying to say is that, similar to that of Hawthorne, no mortal alone can escape the original sins until he or she dies. Quoting again from the article, "This examination of conscience," the Holy Father continued, "also depends on the quality of our work, of our lives, of our presence in the city, of our service towards the common good, of our participation in the public and ecclesiastical institutions."
Hi guys, welcome back to Eric's talk show, and we'll be discussing our last quote for the day. So it reads, "Their instinctive dread caused him to feel more strongly than anything that a preternatural horror had interwoven with the thread of black crepe. In his own epiphany to the veil was known to be so great that he never willingly passed before a mirror." So the context of this quote was that after Mr. Hooper's fiancée Elizabeth left him, he started realizing that people started to stray away from him, and that even the children did not want to be around him.
Well, first of all, I believe that the literary device for this book could be allegory, in which it symbolizes a greater concept of the veil as becoming sin and guilt.
Also, yeah, I agree. But also the theme is like reflection and acceptance of his sin, because he finally came around to realize that nobody wants to be around him, and the significance is to emphasize the idea that all humans will commit sin, and then the importance of how Mr. Hooper himself had to deal with all the misery and ironically the judgment of all the people around him who also committed sin.
The tone of this quote, it seems depressing and morose, as how Mr. Hooper's art is not treated properly by the authority.
I think that's a wrap for now. Thank you guys for watching our show, and we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Bye.
A current event. This current event is talking about how jelly beans, they have, even though they're really tasty, and then they have like a glazed and like shiny coat around them, it's actually made of this material called shellac, which is made from beetle poop, and the coatings of the jelly beans can be compared to what Hawthorne thinks of human appearances. He believes that human nature is innately evil since he has the influence and dealt with like his ancestor participating in the Salem witch trials. So therefore, like the glaze around the jelly beans is like what he thinks of human appearances, and like he thinks that humans can never be truly good, so there must be like an invisible veil hiding each one of them, like the jelly beans are covered with that nasty artificial coat. And the significance of the transcendentalist philosophy is, so I wrote, this connects to the social importance of appearances, and people nowadays often look up to and befriend those with good appearances, but sometimes people with like uncanny appearances often get bullied and often are cast aside from society. But sometimes those people aren't what they appear to be, and that connects to the anti-transcendental idea that people are not innately good or pure at heart, like what Hawthorne thinks.
Alright, so thank you for watching our video, and we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.